Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being so patient. We were just waiting for a few more people to join before we begin. Yes? Right, looks like we've got a really nice crowd this evening. Jai Jinendra, everyone, and welcome. My name is Varsha, and I'm hosting tonight's meeting, or a presentation, I should say, from SCVP Jain School. Be relaxed, have your cup of tea ready and your cup of water or whatever you wish, and really enjoy this evening. So just to give you a little bit of a brief of SCVP Jain School, it's one of the longest established Jain schools in the country. We have been teaching since 1986, and we teach not only adults but children. We are based in Harrow, but our headquarters are in Bihar, Bihar in India. Viraitan is the name of our charity. The whole organization in India is run by a number of wonderful sadhvijis, but headed by Sri Acharya Jannaji. We have been blessed to have this wonderful school in London. And the main pillars that we run this school on is Seva, Shiksha, and Sadhana. You are all welcome to join anytime you wish to join our school, both adults and children. And tonight, it gives me huge pleasure to introduce you to two lovely ladies who are Rupali and Anushri. Now, Rupali is only 13 years old, and Anushri is even younger. She's 10. And we're delighted that they're both going to sing the Nauka mantra this evening for us. So welcome, Anushri and Rupali. I hand over to you.
Namo Arahantaram, Namo Namo, Namo Siddharam, Namo Namo, Namo Hariharam, Namo Namo, Namo Siddharam, Namo Namo, Namo Sarvasamuram, Namo Loye Sarvasamuram, Eso Panchanamo Karo, Sava Pava Parasaro, Mangalancha Sarvesim, Paramam Have Mangalam, Paramam Have Mangalam.
Thank you so much, Rupali and Anushri. That was lovely. I can see both of you have been practicing really well. So well done. Superb job. We now go on to introduce our teacher this evening. What can I say about him? My goodness. Eminent scholar, a wonderful teacher, and we've been so blessed at SCVP to have him. So just going to read a little bit about Rajeev Bhai, who I'm going to introduce you very shortly. So Rajeev has a master's in philosophy from Cambridge University, MBA from Oxford University. He also has a master's degree in Jainology and comparative religions. By profession, he's an investment banker. He's been teaching in SCVP adult class for over 12 years. Today, we are honored and privileged to have him to explain to us the importance and the meaning and the essence of the Namothunam prayer. So please give a big round of applause for Rajeev Bhai this evening, who's going to begin. Rajeev, over to you.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you very much for the glowing introduction. Namaste, everyone. Namaste, everyone. Namaste.
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 Namaste. Namaste.
Jai Jinendra, Rajiv Bhai.
Jai Jinendra, namaste.
Jai Jinendra.
Thank you very much. So, namaste and Namothunam, what do they have in common? So, both of them, as we see, Namo is we actually give obeisance. Aapne koi naman kariye aapne. So, it's kind of quite interesting to see that when you say namaste to someone, what does namaste actually mean? Nam means to bow down, and aste. Now, what does aste mean? It's quite common. We might have heard in the past, ke astik che ke nastik che. So, ghana manso hoy, some people khai pine maja karo, just enjoy life. Who knows whether the soul is? Who knows whether heaven and hell exists? Just enjoy the present life. So, these people are called nastik. So, nastik meaning people who do not believe in the soul. So, and astik are people who actually believe in the soul. So essentially when we say namaste, nama means I'm bowing down to the divinity within you. I'm not bowing down to you because of your money, your wealth, your power, but I'm bowing down to you because of the divinity within you. And so that's what namaste is. And then when you look at Namothunam, essentially it's got a similar connotation. We are now going to bow down to whom? To our Tirthankars. So let's now begin our presentation today on Namothunam. Now, what is Namothunam? Namothunam is a prayer. And before we begin, let us give our humble obeisance to Acharya Sri Channaji, who actually founded the school. Now, Namothunam, as we said, is actually a prayer. Now, what does a prayer actually mean? A prayer essentially means to beg or to ask. So if you look at, and it's quite interesting to see that in the Latin form, prayer means to earnestly beg from something. So the connotation of prayer is essentially twofold. One is to actually beg or to ask or to seek something. Many times when either the children will be asking in the exams, oh God, please let me pass my exams. Let me have a good car, let me have a good job. So this is quite common in terms of prayer. So if you look at the definition of prayer, it's a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or another deity. So that's very common within any kind of prayers, whether they're Christian prayers or whether they are Jain prayers or Hindu prayers. But what's quite interesting to see that within kind of the Jain prayers, it's actually got twofold. One is obviously to ask. Apna ghana prayers ma apna ave che in Logos. Siddha siddhim mamadi santu. Mamadi santu means I want, and I want to get to that Siddhashila place. Or so those are kind of asking. But some other prayers are very generally. We just want to eulogize our Tirthankars, our great spiritual leaders. And that's where we are actually just reciting their prayers and hoping that we get the same level of qualities as they do. Now, let's have an introduction of what is Namothunam Sutra. This sutra is also known as Chakra or Indrastav. Now, before we start, let's just take a small example. Let's imagine that Modi or Trump was visiting us, or even Boris Johnson was visiting us. We are all sitting in our houses. And can you just imagine for a moment that if Boris comes to your house and he actually suddenly comes to you, and rather than greeting you, he actually gets up and then just bows down to you. People will actually be wondering, what is Boris actually doing? How is he actually bowing down to you? Who are you? Now, the same kind of scenario actually happened in the heavens. Apraja Devlok che, emabada Indra Maharaj is che. And there, when the Indra Maharaj is there, they also got a very similar setup to what we have over here. So there'll be someone who could be ministers of the Indra Maharaj. There could be someone who could be people who are in charge of the directional devs. So there are all these various different devs and devis, all with different roles. But who is Indra Maharaj? Indra is the king of them all. All devs have got huge amount of power. But who is Indra? Indra is someone who has got phenomenal amount of power. He is the king of all the gods. And therefore, no one has got any power to surpass the Indra Maharajas. So can you imagine Indra Maharaj getting up from his throne? And why would Indra Maharaj get up from the throne? Now, can you imagine in Devlok, they don't have any natural calamities, like for example, earthquakes or so for example, Indra Maharaj is sitting on his throne, and do you think they will be witnessing something like this? And that's what actually happened. Indra Maharaj was sitting on his throne, and suddenly the throne started shaking. People are wondering, how is this happening in Devlok? No one has got any powers to shake the Indra's throne. There are no natural calamities, no earthquakes, no storms, no thunderstorms. What is it that's making the Indra Maharaj's throne shaking? And then what's happening is Indra Maharaj uses his avdignan. Now, in Jain philosophy, there are 5 kinds of knowledges: Matignan, Shuddhagnan, Avdignan, Manapragnan, and Kevalgnan. So Avdignan is a kind of knowledge whereby you can actually foresee things which are beyond your immediate surroundings. So you've got that power. So Indra Maharaj uses his Avdignan and realizes, what's actually caused my throne to shake is actually the birth of a Tirthankar. A Tirthankar has been born in Bharat Kshetra. And because this Tirthankar is born, my throne is shaking. And what does Indra Maharaj immediately do? He gets up from his throne, and what you see on the presentation, he then sits down with his left leg up, and in this kind of posture, and this is what we believe. And then he recites a Namothunam Sutra. And because Indra Maharaj is getting up, everyone else is actually then following the same posture, because they think that if Indra Maharaj can bow down, who is this great personality that Indra Maharaj is going down to? We all should also pay the same respect to him. And this is how Jains believe that Namothunam Sutra actually came into being. Indra Maharaj is the one who, and that's why it's called the Indra Stav. Now, Namothunam Sutra begins, obviously, as the name says, Namothunam. Most Jain prayers, they are actually known by the first letter which they start with. Uvasagram Stotra, because it begins with Uvasagram. Bhaktamar Stotra, because it begins with Bhaktamar. So most prayers, they are known by the first letter with which it begins with. And it ends with Vandami. And what does Namothunam have? In between, it has got about 35 attributes of Arihant Bhagwan. We'll come later on in the presentation, who is an Arihant? What is so special about Arihants? And so therefore, this is a brief introduction to the Namothunam Sutra. Now, if you look at most of spirituality, there are 3 parts of devotion in most of the Indian philosophy, whether you talk of the Hindu philosophy, whether you talk of the Buddhist philosophy, or even if you look at the Jain philosophy. So most Eastern philosophies, there are generally 3 ways of devotion. It's called Bhakti Yoga. Apne Meera Jeshe, Meerabai, ketlo bhakti mati. She was so engrossed in bhakti. Then there's another path which is known as knowledge, Gnan Yoga. And then the other one, which is known as the action, Karma Yoga. Karmas are the most important. Now, in Bhakti Yoga, what is the general feeling? We humans are too small and we are too weak. And therefore, we now give our obeisance. We bow down to someone who is much more superior than us. We believe in God. He's all-powerful, almighty. Who am I? I'm nothing. And the relationship is almost like a masters and slave. Like in the computer, there's a big jargon, masters and slave. Or for example, even in our homes, we have got our router. Without the router, we'll not get our internet. But then with this router, all these devices are connecting to our main router. So as you can see, that's the key. Without the main router, we cannot have any internet, or any of the devices cannot connect. So essentially, the master is the God, and we are all the slaves. We are all very subservient to the masters, and therefore we give our devotion to the Almighty. So that's kind of the general feeling. The second path is knowledge. Knowledge is the right path. And the basic premise of this path is, this world is full of sorrows, and it's simply an illusion, Maya che. So that's a very key part of the Hindu philosophy. Everything is mithyatva, it's Maya, it's an illusion. And what is the essence of spirituality? To gain knowledge, to merge with Brahma. After we really know the true self, who am I? And then that's when you will start merging with Brahma. But only knowledge can redeem us from pain and suffering, because otherwise we are just totally following the wrong path. And all what you have to do is belief that we are pure Atma, and as soon as this truth is realized, self-realization, then liberation can be achieved. And the third one is action is the only path. And if you look at it in this, the main focus is on action. Now, if you look at our Bhagwan Mahavir, Gautam Swami was his Ganadhar. But before he became a Ganadhar, Gautam Swami was actually an expert in the Vedic philosophy. And he actually had 500 disciples with him. And at that time, Gautam Swami was actually doing a yagna. There's a fire, and they're actually doing lots of sacrifices. And that was supposed to be the greatest spiritual action at that time. And so they actually believed that doing the right action, that's actually a better form of spiritual practice than any of the other parts, devotion or knowledge. And in that, there is no respect for heart or mind. It's only the action, which is the key part. Now, let's look at the Jain's position. Well, Jains believe action without knowledge is blind, and action without devotion is meaningless. So Jainism does not advocate any of these parts in isolation. And this is a great beauty of Jainism. And this is where the Anakant philosophy comes in, the philosophy of multiplicity of views. We cannot just say Bhakti Yoga is the only right path. We cannot just say that knowledge is the only one path or action is the only. And that's why we've got the Ratnatraya, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gnan, and Samyak Charitra. The unification of all these three is required. And so therefore, the sadhana requires this harmonious coexistence of all three, not anyone in isolation, but coexistence of all three. So how does devotion help us? Devotion helps us to become strong in our resolves. I'll give you a small example. In 2011, SCVP took a group of people from here to Rajgiri. And at that time, we actually went to Summit Shikhar. And as you know, it's quite a challenging climb to do the Jatra in terms of the mountain. And as we were climbing, I actually saw a lady, very old lady, maybe in her 70s, 75s, not keeping too well. So her legs were not keeping too well. So she was almost crawling. We were all with our sticks and climbing up. And here is this lady who is almost crawling like a baby and one step after the other step, just walking. And he makes you feel, how is this lady going to reach right to the top of Summit Shikhar? Just by crawling one step to the other. And it makes you realize what devotion this lady has. She has become so strong in her resolve that nothing is going to be impossible for her. Knowledge. Knowledge is also equally important with us. Discriminate between truth and untruth. After Jainism, knowledge comes very, very frequently. It's almost like a light bulb. That light bulb, that means you are able to distinguish between the right and the wrong. So knowledge is obviously associated with kind of light bulbs, and darkness with ignorance. And action obviously is very, very important, is the key. Adopt the conduct of non-violence and truth. And we are quite blessed amongst all the human species, or among all the species of the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, that we've got a mind to think, and we can make the right choices. Not many other people in different gatis are not endowed with such kind of having everything. We've got a great body, a mind to think and make the right decisions. So the mantra of spiritual life is actually to give up the negative and adopt the positive. If you have any questions, please do put them on the chat. Now, we've seen that Jains believe in the unification of the three paths. However, if someone were to ask, out of the three, which is really important? And it does seem devotion reigns supreme. It blossoms the other two. It is really the key, the devotion. Because without devotion, you'll not be able to have the right action. The knowledge will not come in. Otherwise, it's just going to be just a pure, routine, mundane activity. So devotion is really the key. Without devotion, the tree of knowledge and action cannot grow. So we have many devotional prayers. Navkar Mahamantra, Mahamantra. It's out of all the mantras Jains have, Navkar is supposed to be the Mahamantra, the prime mantra. Logas Sutra, Namothunam, where the Tirthankars are worshipped. And they've conquered the Rag and the Dvesh. That's really very important because our Tirthankars are also known as Vitrag. without the rag and dvesh. And what does that mean? Rag, attachment, infatuation, and dvesh meaning hatred. So they do not have these extreme emotions. They are samtabhav, equanimous. And that's why they've reached the zenith of equanimity. So we are worshipping and adoring their greatness. And if we adore them, that's going to be a boon for us. And we're going to get great spiritual strength. So it's quite amazing to know that in Jainism, our main devotion, all our bhaktis, our prayers, is not because of this some almighty, all-powerful God somewhere. The focus of most of all Jain prayers is how can I imbibe the qualities which our supreme souls have. Navkar Mantra is the same. We've got our Panch Parmeshtis. They've got some supreme qualities. And how or what can I do so that we can imbibe those qualities within us? Now, Namothunam, where is this prayers recited? For people who generally are of the Swetambar sect, people who go and visit to the temples, then people actually do a Chaityamandan. And there is a set sequence of prayers when you do a Chaityamandan. Iryavya Sutra, Tasautri Sutra. And after all these sutras, then comes Namothunam. And that's the time generally when people have you've seen, even when we do the Pratikaman, they'll say, now Namothunam is recited, can you please lift your left leg up? And now you can see the reason for this. Legend says that Indra Maharaj recited the sutra in this pose here, and we all trying to emulate and follow that same pose, Namothunam Sutra. And then obviously after Namothunam, other prayers do come in. Now, if you think of it quite carefully, even the sequence of prayers has got a lot of depth within it. Generally speaking, in our day-to-day life, generally what happens is we first get to meet somebody. If I were to meet you for the first time, that's an acquaintance. I've just known you for initially. Hi, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. After we meet very regularly, we get to know each other slightly better, then becomes attraction. Oh yes, your values and my values are matching, and I'm actually quite attracted to you, or you perhaps more attracted to myself. And after attraction becomes adoration. I'm sure people who are in their 20s or early, they really remember, oh yeah, she's my girlfriend. I know, I've met my girlfriend. I've become acquaintance with her. I'm attracted, now I adore you. And so therefore, and similar with our prayers. Oh yeah, we have got our lords. We are doing Vandan. After we do Vandan, oh yes, we have got Aryans. We get to know our Tirthankas slightly better. Then we say, what are the virtues? Why am I giving them Vandan to you? Why am I paying obeisance to our lords? What qualities do they have? And after we learn more and more about their qualities, then it's veneration. Wow, you are really, really a great soul, and you are worthy of veneration. And so that's essentially how these prayers are recited. Now, let's step into Namothunam. So we know Namothunam means I'm going to bow down and I'm going to give obeisance to our Tirthankars. Now, let's for a moment think, if you were to go to a garden, is it possible not to smell fragrance whilst walking in a garden of roses? Do you have to make any special effort? It's automatic. You just have to go walk around and you'll be able to smell the fragrance of all the beautiful flowers there. Similarly, every word of Namothunam is filled with profound essence. Now, Namothunam, bow down. Now, let's think for a moment. Do you think that bowing down by force is worthy? So like, as you can see, under duress, these people are told that you now need to follow us. So they could be a tyrant, a dictator, and saying, you all have to follow me, you all have to bow down to me. Do you think that's really, these people are really giving it out of free will? Is this real obeisance? No. However, if you think of it, when we were in school, we must have all done this experiment. You got a flower, you keep it indoors, it's sort of in one direction. But imagine if you got a flower and you place it by the window, wouldn't you see that the flower is automatically then going to be pointing towards the sun because it wants photosynthesis, and so it's automatically facing towards the sun. Similarly, let's look at a waterfall. How did a waterfall start? It started high up in the mountains, a stream of river, gathering pace, and then eventually what's going to happen is it's going to merge into the ocean. So if you look at Namothunam, Namothunam is a very powerful verse of devotion. And essentially what happens here is Namothunam, it's not ke, oh, can you please bow down to your Tirthankar. Namothunam essence is, mare namunati, automatic naman thai jai che. No one's telling me or forcing me, oh yeah, please go to the temple and bow down. Us, automatically, once when we realize the glory, the amount of virtues which our Tirthankars have, you automatically fold your hands, you go to the temple and you bow down. So it's an automatic process of Namothunam. And that can only occur when you know and understand our Tirthankars much better. Oh, really? And what's very important within us, which really distinguishes us amongst many other religions of the world, is that our lords were once like us. So therefore, if they could do it, even we can do it. And that's really the essence of Namothunam, that it's an automatic process which occurs. There's no duress. No one can force you. Please come here. And that's why that generally people don't say, we have converted this many people into Jainism. No. You come and find out for your own free will. You understand what's worthy of the philosophy has, who the Tirthankars were, and the Naman will happen automatically. So let's begin with the first word. The focus of the presentation over this week and the other week is that we are going to go through each and every single word of this prayer and try to understand the essence of the meaning of this prayer. So the first one is Namothunam. Namothunam, the essence is humility, Vinay. Now, humility essentially means Apna Uttaradiyan Sutrama, there's an entire chapter dedicated to humility. And humility is going to be very, very important for us before we embark on this prayer of finding out more about our Tirthankars. So as you can see, Vinay is another word for humility. Vinay leads to Vijay. So humility leads to victory. So if we really want to become like our Tirthankars, the first thing is we need to be humble and we need to have the Vinay. Now, Namo. So the second word is Mo. Now, what does Mo stand for? Now, one thing is very important to know. Unlike mathematics, 1 + 3 = 4, in spirituality, a word can have multiple meanings. So one cannot say, Mo stands for this. And that's really the beauty of our religion. The more and more you study, the more and more essence you'll get out of the prayers. Mo does not only mean for Moha, it also means for Maya, could stand for Mamatwa. So there could be a multiplicity of meanings or essence behind each word. And there could be lots of depth within each of our words of our prayers. So, Namo. So essentially what it means is humility leads to victory. Victory over what? We want to get rid of our Mo, delusion, our Maya, infatuation, and Mamatwa, our attachment. Now let's begin. Let's just for a moment think, how many letters in the Naukar mantra? Anyone on the chats? Let me stop sharing right now. Anyone can tell me how many letters in our Naukar mantra?
68.
Very good. Thank you very much. Prema panavre. So you're absolutely right. Okay, let me just get my screen share again. So 68. So in the 68 letters of Naukar mantra, how many times does Namo appear? Anyone can tell me how many times does Namo appear? Any answers from the audience?
5 times.
6 times.
5 times, 6 times, close, close, not quite there.
6 times. 6 times.
6 times. Not quite. Any more tries? Namo Arihantanam. Namo Siddhanam. Namo Ayaryanam. Namo Uvajjayanam. Namo Loe Sabasahu Nam. So how many times is that?
10.
10 times. Perfect. Great. So can you imagine out of the 68 letters of Naukar mantra, Nam appears 10 times. And how many percentage is that? I'm sure in our group there must be lots of accountants, financiers, Baniyas, how many times, what percentage is that? Anyone with the calculators? Or using brains? Any answers?
68.
No, so what percentage?
50%.
No, so Namo appears, what percentage of mantra is that? Namo,
50%.
15%. So can you imagine, apna prayers the Maha Mantra, and out of this Maha Mantra, 15% of our Nokar mantra consists of just Namo. Can you really appreciate the depth of just what this Namo means? And it's just amazing to see that if you for example went for a grocery shopping, what's the list? Let's go and buy apples, bananas, cucumber. So we don't say let's go and buy this, let's go and buy this, let's go and buy this. Apna prayers ma kevit na veche Namo Arihantanam. Why wasn't the prayer just Naukar mantra Namo Arihantanam Siddhanam Ayaryanam Uvajanam Namo Vesavsanam? You could have easily done that because you already said Namo in the beginning, and then we know that Arihant Siddha Acharya Keruche. But no, Naukar mantra is repeating it Namo Arihanta Nam and also ending with Nam. So 15% of the Naukar mantra is Namo, and just shows the emphasis of how important of Namo is. Before surgery, sugar levels need to be appropriate. Similarly, before merging with the Lord, ego levels need to be appropriate. If I want to get the same qualities as our Tirthankar Bhagwan, can I really go with sort of a lot of boastfulness? Oh yes, here I am. Namo Arihantanam. No. If you do not have the humility, how are you going to imbibe the same qualities as our God? So that's why it's essential when we are reciting these prayers, Namo, Namo appears so frequently. Now, look at Namothunam. So all internet accounts require password. Password to meet the Lord is Namo. Just as gravitational force pulls everything down, what do you think pulls the soul down? Anyone from the audience or in the chat? Can you say what would pull the soul down?
Our ego.
Ego, excellent. Ego is the one which pulls the soul down. It actually says ego nullifies all good done. So you need the feeling of emptiness before adoring the Lord. Only after Namothunam does the praise of the Lord begin. The great Tirthankars are praised along with their pristine qualities. Every quality, every word, every alphabet of Namothunam is divine magic. In fact, there's someone, Bharvi said, doesn't the Namo in this line, Eso Pancha Namukkaro, that's also true. You're quite right. Essentially what happens is, if you look at Naukar Mantra, in essence, there are some sects who actually believe that the Naukar Mantra is just consists of Namo Rintana, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryan, Namo Vajjan, Namo Vaisavasavanam. The other four pads are addendums to it. But in essence, the real essence of Naukar Mantra is this 5 Parmeshtis. So you are right. You could actually say that you can actually add, so it actually, you can have one more Namo. So rather than having 10, you could say it's 11 out of 68. Just before I move on, there's another question from Bharat Bhai, which says, what is the main difference between Logos and Namothunam? Now, Logos, as you very well know, is an adoration of the 24 Tirthankars specifically. And as we know, the Tirthankars keep on changing every cycle. Every time cycle, there'll be different Tirthankars. So Logos is a very specific prayer for the Tirthankars of our current time cycle. Namothunam is a generic prayer for all Tirthankars at any time, past, present, in the future. So it's a much more generic and looking at the qualities of our Tirthankars. In Logos, we are literally just giving the title of all the Tirthankars, Adeshwar, Ajitnath, all the way up to 24 Tirthankars. We are reciting their names, and then the last few lines are they just giving their general qualities. So you are calmer than the moon, you are brighter than the sun. So it's just giving a little bit some extra qualities. So in Namothunam, every quality, every word, every alphabet of Namothunam is divine magic. And let's just move on. So again, let's look at Namothunam. Beginning telephone code for all cities is 0. As you know, if I want to call Leicester, it's 01162. any telephone numbers generally begin with 0. Similarly, we need zeroness or emptiness before all praises to the Lord. So that really is driving the point. Our ego should be absolutely 0. I need to be totally empty. I should have no arrogance, no sort of feeling that importance of I'm something before I praise to the Lord. Now, what do we see here? Anyone can guess what kind of car is this? Okay, Aston Martin.
Ferrari.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Ferrari, Aston Martin. A palatial house or a palace, like a palace, and this will be some jewelry. Now, the question to you is, which 2 letters will change the entire perspective? 3, if you have got these 3 things here, it's cars. But what 2 letters, if you add to this, will change the entire perspective of our discussion? Anyone? I'm looking for 2 letters which will change the entire perspective.
MY.
Me.
Yeah, me or my. My. You're very right. So that changes everything. Can you imagine if I were to say this is my Aston Martin or my palatial house or my jewelry? I'll obviously start getting some bit of ego because this is something, and your perception of me will also change. You'll think, oh wow, he's got this. So both ways, it changes the entire perspective. Therefore, in Namothunam, what is it which links you to the prayer? Otherwise, it's merely something external. What is it that which links to you? It is essentially the word Namo, which links us to the prayer. Otherwise, can you imagine, apne Namothunam bolye, it's like literally like a shopping list. Oh, this person has got this qualities, this qualities, this qualities. So what? Okay. But when we start saying Namo, that's now linking you to the prayer, saying, wow, I really want those qualities within me. And that this actually becomes a prayer. Otherwise, you can almost, it becomes like a dictionary, some bit of adjectives. This is good, this is nice, this has got these qualities. It's just like referring to something external. But by saying Namo, Namo has linked you to the prayer. Now, if you actually want to start getting those same qualities within you, it's that Namo. So can you imagine, this is the engine. Without the key, without the engine, your car is not going to start. And therefore, Namothunam, Namo, lack of ego, humility, this is now the starting point of you now getting this, imbibing these qualities within you. Even in the Nokar mantra, same thing. Namo Arihantanam. If Arihant Bhagwan has qualities, I want to get the same qualities within me or within us. So now let's go to the second word. Namothunam, it starts with the prayer. Namothunam Arihantanam. So this is the second word of our prayer. Namothunam Arihantanam. Now what is Arihantanam? Who is Arihant? Now Arihant has got a lot of other synonyms. Arahantanam, Araham. People must have heard, even when people recite the Nokar mantra, some people say Namo Arihantanam, some people say Namo Arahantanam. And sometimes it's also shortened down to Araham. So when someone wants to do a job, Araham, Araham, Araham. Now let's look at the play of words in Sanskrit. Aham is ego, and Araham is Lord. These are our Tirthankars. And the difference between them is R, Ra. Now, in kind of the Sanskrit language, R is known as the seed of fire. The different words have got different seeds. So for example, Va is a seed of wind. And let's look at some of the words. Pavan. So that's, again, say it's Ulu. Varsad, Va. So that's because of the rain, the clouds. Bava Jodu. So we can see that Va is a seed of air, whereas R is a seed of fire. So what this is saying, as a play of words, if you want to destroy your aham, your ego, so then you become arham. So the ego ne je destroy kare che, that becomes araham. So when ego burns away, divinity shines. Now let's look at this a little bit further. Here we got a marble stone. Here we got a very skillful artisan, a sculptor. And with his skill, what are we going to get? A murti. This murti, although we believe it's God, it started off as an idol. An idol started as a stone. And it is through the skill of this sculptor to carve out the things which are not required, and create this beautiful, majestic murti. So let's look at our own example. Arihant epitomizes that the Lord was once like ourselves, and by destroying tamas, perfection and purity is attained. All what it's saying is, you, me, all of us have got this beautiful divine soul within us. We are all enveloped with karmas, and we all have got our flaws and our good points. And each of us, through the assistance of Dev, Guru, and Dharma, through the religion, through our gurus, through our scriptures, we want to get rid of our karmas and we want to become like our Tirthankas. So this is the skill of ourselves. Obviously, we can get the help of others, but if we don't act on that path ourselves, then we're not going to become like the Tirthankar. So that essentially is the essence of spirituality, that we are all, almost all of us are like this marble stone here. And we need the skill of ourselves and through the help of scriptures, gurus, and then we will actually one day become like our Tirthankars. And what have they done? They've conquered the Rag and Dvesh. All of us are right now, I like this, I hate this. It's common in our society right now. Something which is favorable to you, you like it. And something which is not, I hate this. And we use very strong words for that. The religion of victory is over one or enemies. Arihantanam. And that's really what the word really means. Arihan. Han means to destroy. And Arihantanam. And destroy what? Destroy the inner enemies. So if someone wants to win the war, someone else loses the battle. But in our case, in spirituality, there is no two parties. To win the cycle of sansar, we have to lose our passions. Han means to destroy, and to destroy the inner enemies. Grammatically, Arihantanam is plural. Arihants in the past, Arihants of the future. And they have gone from Ragi to Vitaragi, from Atma to Paramatma, from Danav to Dev, from Dev to Devadidev. These are our Arihants. As you know, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, was first called, he was an Atma. And because of his great qualities of non-violence, truth, he became a Mahatma. That's not the end of the journey. He also wants to become a Paramatma. So same with us. We are all Atmas. We can hope to become Paramatma. So people who are much better than us will become Paramatma. Like Acharya Chandaji, Paramatma, great souls, divine souls, much better than us. And then they also are striving to become from a Mahatma to a Paramatma. Arihants means there are a lot of internal enemies, our sense organs. They can lead us astray. Objects of pleasure, they can lead us astray. Kashais, sufferings, feelings of pain and suffering. Upsarg, what you're even sometimes suffering from right now, can lead us astray. For example, if you look at Krishna, he had vanquished cruel enemies such as Kans and Sisupal. Does it make him an Arihant? No. It's not external enemies, it's really the internal enemies. Once when we fight with our own passions, our own negativities, that's what we need to focus on. I will not dwell upon all these, it's a lot of qualities, but just to show that whenever you do anything, if you wanted to go into the field of medicine, you'll study biology and you can go into so much more depth. If you wanted to learn finance, same thing, you have to go into so much depth. Same thing with Arihant. We can know who our Arihants are, but it's amazing to see that the more and more and more interested you become, the more and more you can find out about the qualities of our Arihants. This is a very sort of detailed slide. I'm not going to read through everything, but just shows that our Arihants have got some very special qualities. You know, look at Bhaktama Stotra. It recites, what are some of the special qualities? They've got a charmer, they've got this Bhamandal, and you know, they've got so many extra qualities which our Arihants have. When they speak, it's unique. There's such a beauty about their speech. So you know, their someone will not have any doubts. You know, there's bliss in their heart. Even when they speak, the animals can understand what they're talking about. So Arihantanam has got different versions. Arihantanam we've seen. Arihantanam essentially means to destroy your enemies. Arahantanam. So Ra, that's the seed word Ra. And Ra means attraction. So those who have conquered all their attachments, and they are very attractive. We are attracted towards them because they've destroyed all their karmas. So there are some adorable ones. So Arahantanam means those adorable souls. Aruhantanam. Ru means to destroy the karmic seed. So they've actually destroyed all the karmas, and therefore they are called Aruhant. Arohantaram. Omniscient. Raha means secret. Those who have no mysteries to unravel. They've got infinite knowledge. So they are called Arahontar. Arthant. Free from possessions in life, from shackles of death. So they're called Arthant. So as you can see, the different connotations, different words can be used for the same personality. Now, Arihants can be of two types. Now, let's just look at Arihants. Arihants means Samanya Kevalis and Tirthankars. Now, because of time constraints, I will not explain in too much detail, but one has to really understand that, let's just take for an example that Bhagwan Mahavir was around. So Bhagwan Mahavir was a Tirthankar. Then Bhagwan Mahavir had disciples, so Gautam Swami, Chandan Bala, and then they got rid of their karmas and they also went to do Siddhshila. So Bhagwan Mahavir, Gautam Swami, Chandan Bala, they are all in the same Siddhashila. So they are all in the same position right now. However, when they were on earth, Bhagwan Mahavir had a special status. He was a Tirthankar. Gautam Swami was not. He was a disciple. And then when Gautam Swami got Keval Gnan, got rid of his 4 karmas and got Keval Gnan, then the knowledge of Bhagwan Mahavir and Gautam Swami was the same. But still, Gautam Swami was not a Tirthankar. After his lifespan was over, he has reached the same position. So Tirthankars are those special souls who establish religion. They themselves have found the path, they've got rid of their karmas, and they have become Tirthankars. So they're like leaders. It's like when we have our government here, we have got one leader, prime minister, we have got the presidents. So they are the ones who are the leaders. You can have all the others, ministers and everyone else, but no, the Arihants are the ones who are the leaders. And so that's what, in this prayer, we are actually giving obeisance to the Tirthankars. This is the focus of this prayer here. One quick question, how old is Namothunam? Namothunam, as you can see, when you are going to go back in history, it's very difficult to give the exact time. It's like this is when it was done. As we know, most of our prayers were all orally transmitted. And it's only probably say about 1,000 or 1,500 years ago when things started being written down. There were some conference, some councils in Valbipur and in other places when Acharyas at that time decided that all this knowledge which is being passed on is now getting lost. Our memory is fading. So let's now write all these things which have been passed on orally and write down the agams. So the agams were actually composed in different councils. So it's difficult to know when exactly this was done. But as I mentioned earlier, that Jains believe and that the Namothunam was first composed by the Indra Maharaj. But which time frame, it's difficult to pinpoint that exactly on this date here. So look at Namothunam, Arihantanam, Bhagwantanam. So now we now look at the third word, Bhagwantanam. Bhagwantanam, Bhag, Aishwarya, wealth or prosperity. So if you look at the definition here, this Sanskrit, it's saying Bhag means literally possessing fortune, prosperous. So that essentially is the word Bhag. One who has achieved Bhag is Bhagavant. So they've actually achieved wealth, prosperity. What kind of wealth are we talking about? Billionaires? If they become trillionaires? We're not talking about material wealth. They've achieved the ultimate wealth one can hope for, the ultimate prosperity one can hope for, to get rid of the cycle of birth and death. And that's what they've achieved, and that's why they're called Bhagavan. Acharya Haribhadra has given 6 meanings of Bhag. Splendor, amazing splendor, energy, Ananta Virya, fame, beauty, conduct, and endeavor. They've got, and our Tirthankars have got all of this in infinite abundance. So those who have got all 6 in all perfection are called Bhagwan. Now, as I said earlier, there's not only just one meaning of Bhagwan, just because of Bhag. Another connotation could be Bhai. Bhai Ant. As you can see here, Bhai Ant. Ant means to end. So Bhai no end kero. They've actually destroyed the fear. They've got no more fear now. Once when you're in Siddhshila, you are there for all eternity. You don't have this cycle of birth and death coming up again. Bhav, ant. So again, not bhai, but now bhav. Bhav no ant ke relo ka hai. So these are different meanings of what Bhagwantanam could mean. They've ended this reincarnation. Another one of bhaj. Bhaj means to adore or to honor. Another connotation could be Bhagavan. Bhumi means earth. Gagan means sky. So as you can see, Gagan. Va stands for air. Agni is fire. So Agni. And Nir is water. As you can see, not only our philosophy, but if you look at the next slide, even in the kind of ancient Greek philosophy, that people have actually revered some the natural elements, air, earth, fire, and they actually believe that this is perhaps they are divine spiritual entities. And as you can see in the last line here, just one second. Okay, so there's Empedocles, who actually said that these elements have actually got a spiritual expression. So they actually believe that they could be actually God, because when we die, we are going to then merge into, it's going to become water, earth, air, it's all going to then get there. So they actually believe that these elements have actually got a spiritual essence in them. So some people can impress others with their knowledge, looks, speech, nature, but Bhagwan, who is Bhagwan? Infinite knowledge, infinite beauty, infinite punya, infinite energy. So they're essentially the infinite of infinite qualities. Sarvottam, best of best, top of toppers, second to none. So Bhagwan is Anutar, no comparison. There's no comparison to our Bhagwan. Now, the other word is Aigaranam. So as you can see, the definition here means the beginners, the beginners of Shruth. Adinath Bhagwan. So I means to begin something. So the Bhagwans are the people who started. They are the ones, for example, Rishabdev Bhagwan, he started what? He started Asi, Masi, Krishi. So this is what we believe that what Adinath Bhagwan started. Writing skills, agriculture. Before that, society did not know how to do this. So Adinath Bhagwan is the first Tirthankar and he showed the society some basic skills. So for us, our Tirthankars are people who have given us the knowledge of spirituality that has been codified into our agams, and then we follow them and we've got a path ahead for us. So they're the beginners of Shruth, the knowledge. Let's look at what George Bernard Shaw had to say. In Jainism, God is never a monopoly game. Beautiful. Gods in Jainism show you by way of scriptures how to become like them. Can you imagine, if I'm very powerful, I don't want others to become like as powerful as I am. But in Jains, the God says, I have become the supreme soul, but just you yourself can also become the supreme soul. I'll show you the path. It's not a monopoly game. Not only me, that I don't want anyone else to get the same quality as this. You all can, suffer in the sansar. I'm enjoying myself in Sichila. No. If religion is eternal, how can Tirthankars be originators? They are not founders, but established religion in each era. So they have not founded a religion. They've just established the truth. And the truth is eternal. They clear the weeds of wrong faith and give a fresh impetus. So that's why we got 24 Tirthankars. You got one Tirthankar, then because of the passage of time, that knowledge gets weighing down, and then another Tirthankar comes, revives the religion, and so on and so forth. So, oh Lord, you started and completed your journey for self-realization. Let me start mine. So what should be our prayers? Oh Lord, your past is my present. I pray that your present becomes my future. So I've got a few more minutes left, and I'll just do one or two. Essentially, there are quite a lot of prayers, so we'll try to see how much we can cover this session and the next session. The other one is Tirthayaranam. So Tirthankar has got two connotations. Tirtha, Tirtha Magyoto. So you went to pilgrimage. And Tirthayaran means ford maker. It's like a bridge. And so essentially what you can have is, you have someone who has become a Kevaldan. So like Gautam Swami, they realized, they got rid of their karmas, they achieved self-realization, they became a Kevali, and they attained moksha. So that's like Gautam Swami here. Depends on the teachings of the Lord, becomes a Ganadhar and moksha. But who is a Tirthankar? A Tirthankar is an entity or a person who has achieved self-realization. So they've got rid of their karmas, they've got the Keval Gnan, but they have got this universal welfare. I have achieved this. How can I also ensure that everyone else in the universe can achieve the same? And that's why they established the religion, the path. And so, and this was they are called Tirthankars. And what they established then remains for a long period of time. So, for example, Bhagwan Mahavir was about 2,500 years ago, and the words of Bhagwan Mahavir is what keeps us going. To depict this, Bhaktama Stotrama, the first verse shows this. Hey Bhagwan, we are all in this sansar, and the sansar can be depicted by crocodile-infested waters. We are trying to swim, and we are getting lost. But if I get your divine feet, then you'll help me cross from one side of sansar to get to the Siddhshila. And that's the essence of Tirthankar. So Tirthankars are the ones who have established fourfold. They've established sadhus, sadhvi, shravak, and shravika. So that's kind of the religion which they've started, and that's why they're called Tithayaranam. Swayam Sambuddhanam. Beautiful. Now, it's quite important that those of you listening to this, that for our children, it's important that if you can, to teach them our language, whether it's Gujarati, Hindi. And look at this word here, Swayam Sambuddhanam. Now, imagine if these scriptures came to you, would you be able to decode what's the meaning of this? Swayam. So the first word is Swa, and the Swa means self. How many words do we know in Gujarati which means self? Swarup. Ano swarup su che. Ano swabhav kevo che. Swabhav. Aswarthi che. All means to do with self. And the opposite of that is par. Parlok. So the other. So Sayam means Swa. Sambuddhanam. Sam. What does Sam mean? Apne ke Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gnan, Samyak Charitra. So right. So Swayam Sambuddhanam. Buddhana means buddhi, intellect, wisdom. So they are the ones who have managed to get the right knowledge and right Sambuddhanam and by themselves. So they did not have any teachers. When Bhagwan Mahavir went to the forest, he meditated, he managed to realize the truth by himself. And then when he realized the truth himself, he got Keval Gnan. That's when he started preaching the religion. Not before then. Bhagwan Mahavir did not preach at all, did not utter a single word whilst after he had taken Diksha. Only once when they became Swayam Sambuddhanam, they attained the knowledge by themselves, then they are worthy of veneration.
Rajeev?
In Sutra it said, Asutta Muni, Sutta Amuni. Those who are vigilant and alert, that not sleeping is a Muni. That's a definition of a sadhu. And those who are non-vigilant, careless, or sleeping is not a Muni. And sleeping does not mean sleeping in the literal sense. It means inner conviction, discrimination.
Raji, we have a hands up by Rekha Ben. If you can answer her question, please.
Yeah. So what's the question, sorry?
Rekha Ben, you had your hand up. Would you like to unmute and ask the question to Rajeev Bhai? Rekha Ben, are you there?
Okay, maybe I'll just carry on.
Yeah, carry on. We'll come back to you, Rekha Ben.
Okay, should I end with a story? How much time do we have, Varsha?
Yeah, just if you can end with the story, that would be great, Rajeev.
Okay, fine. Okay, in this story here, there was actually an angry king, and he had lots of prisoners. So rather than just sending them into the prison, he decided, you know what? I'm going to teach these prisoners a lesson. I'm actually going to ambush them to the forest. He handcuffed all of them and told the soldiers, march these people, all these prisoners, to the forest, and let them and leave them there. Don't bring them back. And in the forest, they'll meet their own fate. There'll be wild animals, there'll be snakes, you know, and that's it. They won't be able to do anything. The hands are handcuffed. They cannot eat, or they'll not find it very difficult to eat. The handcuffed, and let them just be in the. However, what happened was, there was one person who then decided, what can we do? We've been handcuffed here. let me go near a stone and let me just literally just do some through friction. Let me just literally move up and down my handcuffs. And what's going to happen? I'm going to be able to break free my chains. And once when he did that, he told all his other fellow inmates, guys, you can also do the same. Okay. So he managed to free himself, and then he also managed to free all the others. And that's essentially it's what Soyam Sambuddhana means. This person, no one taught him what to do. Through his own ingenuity, through his own efforts, he managed to free himself from the shackles. And once when he freed, he did not say, I'm free now, you guys, it's your own fate. He then went to all the other prisoners and said, this is all what you can do. And he managed to free all of them. So in essence, we are all in a state of deep slumber. So we are all ignorant. But when we find someone who is worthy of adoration, they make us rise up. So it's a jagruti, the awakening. And once when you get awakened, so the Tirthankars are those who do not have any gurus or scriptures before them. They are the ones who are self-enlightened. And once when they're self-enlightened, they show us the path. So I think on this note, let's end it here today, and then we can carry on in the next session.
Thank you, Rajeev. That was amazing. My goodness, such detail. Every single word is even broken down into each syllable, and such deep meaning. I had no idea. Thank you so much for that. My goodness.
Any other questions before we end, or is it done? Anyone has any questions?
If we have Rekhaben still wanting to ask the question, then please do. Rekhaben, are you still there? And do you want to ask Rajeev Bhai any questions?
Yeah, I think maybe not.
Okay, no problem whatsoever. Once again, thank you, Rajeev. May I ask all the people watching to unmute and give a round of applause to Rajeev Bhai, please.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Excellent talk. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. And really enjoyable. Thank you. So we now move on to end tonight's presentation with a lovely prayer being presented by Manjri Ben, who is one of our adult teachers. So I'll pass you over to Manjri Ben. Are you there? Thank you.
Our children.
Yes.
Chattari Mangalam Arihanta Mangalam Sita Mangalam Sahu Mangalam Kevali Panato Tamo Mangalam Chattari Lokuttama Arihanta Lokuttama Sita Lokuttama Sahu Lokuttama Kevali Panato Tamo Lokuttamo Chattari Saranam Pavachami Arihante Saranam Pavachami Sete Saranam Pavachami Sahu Saranam Pavachami Kevali Panatam Tamam Saranam Pavachami. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manjri Ben. That was beautiful. Just a few little announcements before we say goodbye. One is that next week, same time, same place, we will have part 2 of Namothunam by Rajeev Bhai. Also, before, many of you already know, but before we start our 8 p.m. classes, we also have at 7 o'clock a mindfulness class. And with the mindfulness class, then follows our SCVP presentation. We are also doing a number of charitable events. So if you do wish to help in any way, do get in touch with any of the committee members. Apart from that, you will also need to update your Zoom account by next Friday. I believe it's automatically being popped up as you enter Zoom. They will ask you to upgrade to, I believe, version 5. So if you be kind enough to do that before you come online next week, it'll be really helpful. Also to let you know that, it's been a pleasure having all of you watching tonight. And if you be kind enough to fill in the survey that's come up on your screen now, it's a little poll of a couple of questions. We would be really grateful if you can just fill that out so we can improve and keep improving every time. But I think it's going to be very hard to beat Rajeev Bhai. He's such an excellent presenter. But thank you so much. And if we've made any mistakes, we ask for forgiveness. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy yourselves, enjoy the sun, and see you all next week. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinan, thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.